Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Heejung, and I will do a little presentation on CSS extension and frameworks, mainly SASS, Bootstrap, and Tailwind. And this presentation is kind of go over a little bit about each of these things and also my experience with it. So with SASS, it's an extension to CSS, and the browser doesn't know SASS code, so it needs like a SASS precursor to convert the code to standard CSS for the browser to read. And SASS is supposed to reduce the repetition of CSS to save time, and it features variables, nested rule, mixin, imports, inheritance, built-in functions, and other things. So variables would be you use a $sign in front of the variable name, and you can save any kind of information like strings, numbers, colors, booleans, lists, and nulls. And with nesting, instead of having you know, class names for each HTML element, you can have one class name and have nested declare the HTML inside and declare the CSS. So it kind of helps to organize the CSS and helps you to kind of understand exactly where the CSS rules hit the HTML. It also has import, where you can import different SASS files to other SASS files to use the CSS code. It also has mixin to customize the CSS code and also to use it in functions. I haven't used the extend, but it's supposed to kind of help to minimize the repetition in CSS by adding the CSS code from the basic button basic class to the button report. And my experience, the disadvantage to CSS is it sometimes can increase the complexity if you have if your website is pretty extensive and has a lot of pages. And this complexity might help slow down development because SASS needs to be compiled in order to be, developed and debugged. And right now, my project is small, but as it grows, these SASS files could get extensive. And then so just looking through which file, how it works, might take some time. And SASS definitely has kind of like a larger learning curve compared to regular CSS, in my opinion. And even though SASS is supposed to kind of help eliminate redundant code, sometimes you might end up with more redundant code depending on how it's used. So those are the downsides to SASS. And with Bootstrap, Bootstrap is a framework that has pre-built CSS and JavaScript components and styles. And it helps with consistent style and design and would help streamline the process of building and maintaining websites. And it improves collaboration and maintainability. And it's a mobile-first web design framework. So the advantages to Bootstrap I found are their components, their pre-built CSS and JavaScript. With this mobile navigation, I just used their component, and I didn't have to write any functionality JavaScript code to make this what's it called? A mobile nav to open and close and go to other areas of the website. The disadvantages is it's very limited in the customization that you can do, I find. When I use Bootstrap, there's like main classes that I can use to make the website mobile responsive. But at the same time, when you want to do specific custom detail, you end up going back to regular CSS. And with the Bootstrap classes, you could have HTML bloat. And also, since it's the #1 framework, a lot of websites that use the same components would look too similar to each other. It can get kind of it's pretty simple to use, but if you want to do more complex design, it would be easier definitely to just use regular custom CSS and JavaScript. So when I mean by limited customization is this is kind of like a code for mobile and the desktop view. And I noticed that I would have to kind of duplicate the HTML code. And it creates more code than necessary. And this is kind of like a little sample, but I could see if you have like more customization and more intricate websites, the code can get pretty long. And the reason why I need it too is because with Bootstrap, there's no way to put this, I guess, like the same class into it's not like Tailwind where you can have mobile responsive code in the classes. You would have to create like a separate, the mobile responsive class in a separate CSS file to create it. So with Tailwind CSS, it's a utility-first framework. So the class names are not descriptive, but based on the functionality. So the learning curve of understanding Tailwind was actually really short for me. And they also provide components and themes so that you can jump right into building a website without working on a custom website. But with Tailwind CSS, you can really customize your website like a regular CSS, code, which offers a lot of flexibility. It's easier to code and customize and work with. So the advantages of Tailwind is definitely low learning curve. It eliminates the need to write custom CSS for every element, so you're not spending time trying to think of creative or distinct class names. And it's designed right into the HTML so that you don't have to dig through a bunch of CS files to understand where it's coming from. You can go right to the HTML and understand exactly what's happening to that particular element. And it's easy to be consistent in the design customization, very flexible and customizable. And performance-wise, I don't really see any lag, but then my websites are small and simple. And you don't have to worry about CSS bloat. And the files are really compact. I don't even have a CSS file for my Tailwind projects. So Tailwind also has variables. You can add custom numbers and features that you can use. And when I say it's easily customizable, in that this block of HTML code, it's kind of long because of the Tailwind classes, but this part was actually really easy to do, like a mobile view, tablet view, and a desktop view of the grid. And I was able to customize the responsive layout right in the HTML with Tailwind CSS classes. Another part that I really liked about Tailwind is being able to group elements together. so that when I hover over one, it would change the colors of 2 or 3 different elements depending on how you put it together. And the disadvantages of Tailwind would be definitely the HTML bloat. You end up using more class words than needed. And I haven't got to the point where I needed like custom CSS and JavaScript for the design, but you definitely would need JavaScript for functionality. But as far as the design goes, I mean, I just really can't see any limitation. And there might be potential performance issues, but I haven't really seen that yet. So that is it for my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Oops. I'll ask you a question. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Samuel?
Yeah. So I wanted to know, like, so I'm assuming like we can import these libraries into our code. Is that correct? Like we import other other packages.
So for Tailwind, you can definitely you know, npm package import to your React, you know, projects. But for like a simple static website, for me, I just attached or added the Tailwind CDN link. And it was just like really convenient, just having the CDN link, and you can use what's it called, Tailwind classes in your static website. I guess the one thing that was kind of like a little bit more work is that when I did Tailwind in a React project, when I would type in these Tailwind classes, sometimes it would auto-generate, but it doesn't really do that for the static website until you use it once. Then it'll remember and kind of like auto-generate while you're typing.
Oh, in the VS Code? You mean in the VS Code?
In the VS
you
Code.
Mean in, oh, okay.
Yeah, in the VS Code, I use for my environment, I use VS Code, and I've used Tailwind in like a little, I think, React Vite and Next.js, and I would have to say, like, you know, both times, I find using Tailwind a lot easier. And also in the Hack for LA project that I'm in, we're not using Tailwind, we're using JSS, and they've implemented SASS and regular CSS. And it gets to be kind of overwhelming when you have like different frameworks, because, you know, not one framework covers, you know, what, you know, a developer actually needs. But then I feel like Tailwind really does the job of SASS and JSS. And another good thing about it is you really don't have to go to another file to see what the CSS code is doing. And with JSS, you have to scroll all the way up to see all the CSS code. Even though it's in the same file, you have to scroll up and down to see, you know, what the classes are doing. So that's kind of like an inconvenience. Especially when your React.js code file can be pretty extensively long.
Thank you. And I just wanted to check, like, sometimes there's a concern, like how big is the library size if you're importing? So, like, do you know how much would be the size of each of these? Like, if we compare.
You know, I haven't checked on the size of the library at all, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I wonder if anybody else has experience with Tailwind, Bootstrap, and SASS. Has any comments for me?
Yeah, I mean, I use I typically will use Bootstrap and along with some custom CSS. Tailwind I have not used. That's pretty interesting. My curiosity is, if you compare the three, which do you feel is the best with regards to performance? So which is it? Do you see it? What do you think as far as performance would have the biggest performance implication?
So I'm currently working on, the notary website, and I use Bootstrap framework. And as you can see, when I'm kind of, minimizing the screen, it kind of, it does become responsive. And so getting that to work actually took longer than if I were to code that in Tailwind. This making this website responsive was actually, it took less time to code. It was just a lot easier, faster, and I would have to say it hits the breakpoints cleaner. Whereas Bootstrap, it's kind of hard to manage the breakpoints for me. I didn't really like the way it this one, like when you hit a breakpoint, it just changes.
Right.
So yeah, it's like less messy, I think, visually. And because with Tailwind, you can really customize to the exact PX, or every single measurement, like the view height, VH, EM, PX. It's just a lot easier to work with. Whereas Bootstrap, you can't really customize their class names. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So
what are the breakpoints? You said they're set. So there are set breakpoints that they have in Tailwind.
So Tailwind has set breakpoints, and let me see if I can follow. Okay. Oh, okay, hold on. It's not showing the. I gotta go to my GitHub and to show you the code. Okay, so when you look at the breakpoint code here, you don't have to put. This is how you distinguish the breakpoints, is by putting MD for medium width, LX for the desktop view. And there's like a small width, but how it works is this is pretty much the mobile breakpoint right here. Anything from here lower will show the mobile view. This medium breakpoint, this 689 pixel, is the tablet view, and after it hits this breakpoint, it'll show a tablet view. And then anything from this large and above.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think even managing the breakpoints in Tailwind, it was just a lot easier to understand and, start customizing. And once you have the mobile view, you would just go back in and add in the code for the like tablet and large view, depending on what you needed. And then everything else as far as the other classes to, design the element would stay the same. So all of these numbers in the brackets are like custom numbers, and that's what made Tailwind so much easier to use. You can specifically say, like the width without creating another CSS file. You could do it directly in here. Whereas with Bootstrap, you have the Bootstrap classes, And then you would have to have like a separate file if you want to add additional CSS to customize it. Yeah. But with Tailwind, you can just directly do everything within the HTML element with the class. And then because they're utility-based, class names, you can easily tell, okay, this is background font. It's just a lot easier to read. And when, leading is like, I think it was like either the text height or I think it's like the height measurement.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to understand about that too is, I guess the downside of that would be the utility aspect is nice, but you want all your buttons to look the same, presumably, or in general, and you want all your text boxes to look the same, and you want all your accents to look the same, or at least what I mean is you're going to have a consistent style.
Oh yeah, and you can just copy paste these classes to.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I'd rather have a button style which incorporates all those instead of copying and pasting.
I guess that comes in handy in a React framework where you would have like a button component, and you would just put that one Tailwind class into the component, and then you would use that component all over the place, which would make it consistent, and you wouldn't have to copy and paste the CSS class. So, but then as far as, I guess, other regular projects, yes, that's one thing, but it's not that you can't use CSS file with Tailwind. If that's what you would prefer, you can, create a CSS file and put in that custom class in there, and it would just work the same. But I guess for Tailwind and React, you don't really have to worry about creating another file because you would use the same button component, modal component. You would just import the component with the CSS already in there. So that would keep it consistent.